are you all? I hope you are doing great at your end. So in last lecture we discussed about HTML, our introduction part, a basic overview I gave you. So in this lecture we would be getting deeper inside the HTML. So I hope you enjoyed the last session. So let's start. As I already told you, in HTML, HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It is a standard language that is being followed nowadays for creating any web page. It is having elements, tags. So elements can have your heading, paragraph, or there can be any link. So what it is basically doing, whatever you are writing in the HTML as a code, your browser is actually is a application. It is interpreting it. It is interpreting your code and displaying the content accordingly. So if you have written something in the heading part, so it will be displayed on a web page as a heading, right? So I also have shown you the simple HTML document, the structure where we have written this code that you see on a screen. That code, document type HTML, head, title, and then title, closing tag, head, body. So always remember, whatever you have you have written in the title, it would be shown as a tab. It is the name of the tab, right? So here the page title would be shown at the as the name of the tab, right? So H1 is the heading. I told you H1, H2, H3, H4, H5. These are actually the headings font sizes. So H1 is the gigantic font size. P stands for paragraph, where whenever you have to write a paragraph, some details about something, then that can be in the P tag, right? So whatever you are writing in the body element, whatever you are writing, that would be shown inside the browser, right? Are you getting my point? A document type HTML is basically a declaration of HTML5 document. So whenever you find this document type HTML being declared, it is for the HTML5 version. In the last lecture I had told you HTML1 version, 2 version, 3 version, 4 version, 5 version. So these currently we are using the HTML5 version, right? So HTML element, whatever the code you are writing in HTML, it has always to be in HTML tag, starting HTML tag with angular brackets and the closing mark with the forward slash and HTML, this closing angular bracket. Every code is to be written inside this. Whatever the HTML code you have to write inside it, right? That you have to ensure at your end. The title is displaying the title of the HTML page. P would be displaying the paragraph, again the same thing. So what is an HTML element? HTML element is just defined as a start tag, some content and end tag. So most of the HTML element you would find a tag name and a closing tag name. Like in P there would be a closing P tag. In H1 there would be a closing H1 tag. Likewise you can see here for heading we are writing H1 tag and closing H1 tag. So this is the basic syntax to write a tag and HTML element. I hope you are getting what I am trying to convey to you. So this break element, it doesn't have any closing tag, right? So there would be in break, whenever you have to do the line break, so it is an empty element. There no element is content is there and no end tag is there. You have to just simply write break and the content would be in the next line. So I hope you got this. Let's move ahead. So what is the purpose of a browser? The browser is actually displaying whatever you have written in the HTML code, that would be displayed inside the browser, like a content. Like in the last we have written my first heading, it is the H1 tag. So now try to recognize what we have written and how it is being displayed. My first paragraph that is written, it is inside the P tag, angular bracket P and closing bracket T, P. So whatever you have written in the P, it would be displayed as a paragraph, right? So that you need to understand. Whenever you look in the browser, you must try to correlate it with the what kind of HTML tag would have that been, right? So if you visualize that, you can very well get to know that here it is HTML head. Head is basically what is not displayed in the body, it is above it. So the title and the page title you see here, it is the head, that index.html. The index.html you are seeing, it is in the title tag, and then h1 is, this is a heading, p is paragraph, and p another paragraph. So it doesn't matter how number of paragraphs you are writing, you already always have to use the p tag, and then enclose body and html. Every code has to be in html. So whatever you are writing in that is to be displayed in the browser, it must be inside the HTML tag. The content inside the body section will be displayed in a browser. So in the browser, the whatever you are writing in the body tag, it would be displayed, right? So that you have to understand. I already told you about the history, like what are the when was the HTML 5 point or 5.1 is there. In the latest is 5.2, it is from 2017. So there are improvements in the technology, and likewise there are various releases. So in this tutorial we would be using the HTML5 standard, right? So there are some tags that are removed and some other facilities or other tags are added. So likewise this HTML versions, they are improved, right? So now let's move to the editors part. I have already told you what are the types of editors that you can use for writing the HTML code. So in writing the HTML code, it can be very easy. You can just, when you have that Windows PC, you can have that notepad pre-installed. You can use it as notepad, or text edit is there in Mac. So any editor, any normal editor you can use. And I think, and I would recommend you try to learn HTML using the basics text editor, that is notepad or text edit, because it would become easier for you to practice and learn and remember it, because as we know, practice makes someone perfect. So when you try to write it again and again, your perfection and your understanding and comprehension of this HTML, it will get improved, right? So it is normal, you all know how to open notepad. You just go to your application search and type notepad and open it. When you open a notepad or a text edit, you just try to write it in a simple text. Just write this code in your HTML, this HTML code, try to write it in the notepad. When you write in notepad, it would be displayed as a text, because it is a text editor, so it would be a text. You have to save this file with the .htm or .html whatsoever, but you can also write HTML or htm, anything you can write. So if you are writing HTML, so it would be a web file. So when you right click and save it, rename and save it like this, as you can see in your screen, it can be HTML or HTM, right? Both, any file extension you can use, there is no difference. So basically most of the time we are using .html, right? So try to learn that. You see .html, save .html in your screen, and then when you right click and open it with browser, it would be displayed like this, right? The code that you have written, it would be displayed like this. My first heading is the h1 tag, and my first paragraph is the p tag. This is index.html, it is the title tag, right? So you need to understand it. So you try it yourself, try to write this and see whether you are able to do it or not, because it is very important. Until and unless you practice, it is not going to help you anything. So we must try to learn this. So let us move ahead with the HTML headings. You can find there are h1 to h6 tags. The variety of tags are there. H1, for headings you can use h1, h2, h3, h4, h5, h6. So these are according to the font sizes. H1 being the larger, being the gigantic font size, and h6 is the smallest heading size that you can use in the HTML. So you can try to write like this: h1, h6, h2, h3, h4, and try to see the difference what is the difference? So whatever you have written in your notepad just now, and you try to amend your code, write to H1 instead of H1, try to write S6 and see the difference. What is the difference in the font size? You can see there. In the paragraphs I have told you that p tag is used. So whenever you are trying to link any document or any page, you can do that by using the a tag. So links can be done by the a tag. In a, href means reference. So you have to write the website name where you want to link on that page. So this is a link. When you will click this is a link, it will redirect you to that web page. So href attribute is to be used with the a tag when you have to link any HTML page. So likewise, images can be linked with the image tag. So you have to use image, and it does not have any closing tag. In image, the whole syntax is written inside itself. It doesn't have that closing tag, that is angular bracket and forward slash img. It doesn't have. So whatever you have to write in the image tag itself. Like src means source. So the source of that image, it is that w3schools.jpg. It is the source of that image. alt means alternate text. If suppose that image is not there, so what text can be displayed to the user? So that is the alt tab. And width and height is accordingly you can set of the image. So if you want to increase or decrease the height, you can do it accordingly, right? So how to view the HTML source? Just you can control plus U, or you can right click on any page and view page source. When you view the page source, you can find the code on which this page is written, and you can also inspect an HTML element. So that can be done with the right click on any element and inspect. When you inspect, you can see both HTML and CSS. So HTML and CSS both will be shown. HTML will be shown in the elements and styles panel, right? So that's it for today. In the next lecture, we will move ahead with elements and attributes, and further we would get deeper into this HTML element. Till then, bye bye, take care.